There are many rooms in this house, but there is one room that shouldn't exist. It all started when my mom called me to see if I could help her with something. She had found an old box while cleaning out the attic. Inside was a bundle of papers, and when she opened it, she found a key. "I think this might be the key to one of your old rooms," she said. "My dad built this house himself when he was a young man, and he made it exactly the way he wanted it. He even designed the layout of the rooms. In fact, he told us many times that he specifically planned for each of his kids to have their own special room that reflected their interest. When I was little, I loved fantasy books and drawing pictures." So Dad converted the third bedroom into what he called the Pixie Hollow Art Studio. It had slanted ceilings, exposed beams, and he even installed a skylight so I could have natural light. My brother got the space above the garage, which became his music studio. And my sister got the room with the balcony overlooking the backyard where she could sit and write. Our rooms were sanctuaries where we could go to get away from everything and everyone. We were allowed to paint the walls whatever color we wanted and fill them with whatever decorum we liked. My room was full of art supplies and easels, while my brother's room had instruments and recording equipment everywhere. My sister's room had shelves overflowing with books and writing paper. But when I turned 16, things changed. The Pixie Hollow Art Studio became the junk room. You see, I started hanging out with some older kids who didn't like coming to our house because my room was filled with childish things. They said it looked like a kid's playroom and not the room of a cool high schooler. One day they dared me to turn my room into a dungeon. They thought it would be funny if my parents walked in and saw what they did. So I hung black trash bags over the windows and painted the walls dark gray. I put some cobwebs up and made a couple of spooky props. The next day, my mom walked in and was shocked. "What happened to your beautiful room? Why do you hate pixies now?" I lied and said that I did. And that was the end of that. My mom never asked again, but I always felt guilty about what I did to my room. After high school, I went to college and eventually moved out. My brother and sister both got married and moved out too, but my parents stayed in the house. Then one day, my dad passed away. My mom couldn't bear to stay in the house without him, so she sold it and moved to Florida. The new owner kept the house just the way it was, except for the junk room. They took out the trash bags and painted it white. Now, years later, my mom calls me and asks me to come look at the key she found. Could it be the key to the junk room? Maybe, but it also might be the key to one of the other rooms in the house. I grab the key and head over to the house. As I walk inside, I can smell fresh paint. I go to my old room and stick the key in the door. It doesn't open. I try again. Nothing. Maybe the key doesn't fit the door. But then I notice that the door isn't the same. The original door had glass knobs and a keyhole that was set off center. This door had a deadbolt. I tried the key in the deadbolt and it opened. I pushed the door open and walk in. I can't believe what I'm seeing. The room is exactly how my dad left it. It's like time stood still when I turned 16. Cobwebs are everywhere. The fake cobwebs, not the real one. There's a skeleton of a bird sitting on an easel. I touch it and it crumbles to dust. On another easel is a portrait of a woman with webbed hands and feet, holding a paintbrush in one hand and a flower in the other. She has wings on her back. I know I painted that picture when I was 8 years old. I walk over to a shelf and pick up a book. It's one of my favorite fairy tales. The cover is hand-drawn by me. I look around the room and realize that everything in here is exactly how I left it. Even the drawings on the wall are the same. The only difference is the color of the walls. Instead of being painted dark gray, they're white, like they were when I first walked in. I feel a tear roll down my cheek. All these years I've been wanting to go back to that room, but I never had the guts to ask my parents if I could. And now it's gone. As I walk out of the room, I notice that there's another door. I'd completely forgotten that there was another entrance to my old room. I walk through and find myself in a hallway I haven't seen in decades. I can hear voices and decide to investigate. I peek around the corner and see my brother and sister talking to the new owner of the house. It's incredible how well preserved everything is in this house, my sister says, like nothing's changed since the 90s. My brother nods in agreement. Yeah, it's almost like a time capsule. The owner looks at me and smiles. You must be the kids who used to live here. I've been restoring the house, and I thought you might like to see the progress. Come in. I take a deep breath and walk into the room. It's unlike any room I've ever seen before. The floor is made of stained glass that looks like a giant kaleidoscope. The walls are made of stacked mirrors that reflect the ceiling. The ceiling is covered in tiles that are glowing softly. In the middle of the room is a huge crystal that looks like a giant icicle. It's emitting a soft white light. There are 7 pillars in a circle around the crystal, and strange symbols are carved into each one. On the far side of the room is a door with no frame or handle. It's just there. I walk toward it and reach out to touch it. It feels cold, like ice. As I push it open, I feel a strong gust of wind and hear thunder in the distance. When I turn to leave, I see that my brother and sister are gone. The owner is standing behind me. You said this house was built in the 1980s. I said, how could your parents have lived here if it wasn't finished yet? They never lived here, she says. This house has been abandoned for hundreds of years. Your dad simply built the shell of the house and then he disappeared. No one knows what happened to him. Your mother and I are the only ones who have lived here permanently. Now come with me. She walks toward the door. I want to show you something. I hesitated. I don't know why. Something tells me that once I step through that doorway, I may never come back. But I want to see where this place leads. So I take a deep breath and follow the owner out of the room. We walk down a long corridor that seems to stretch on forever. There are doors on either side of us, but they're sealed shut. I can hear water dripping somewhere ahead of us. Suddenly, the ground beneath our feet starts to shake. The owner grabs my hand and runs. We come to a door at the end of the hall, and she pushes it open. We're in a big dome-shaped room. In the center is a pool of water, and a huge crystal shard sits in the middle of it. Light refracts through the shard and makes rainbows all over the walls. Water is pouring in from cracks in the ceiling. The dripping we heard earlier was coming from here. The air is thick with moisture. The owner lets go of my hand and points to the shard. This is why you came here, she says. This is what you're meant to do. I have no idea what she's talking about. Then I noticed 7 glyphs carved into the wall around the pool. The same symbols that were carved into the pillars in the other room. I remembered something from a fairy tale that I used to love. The hero had to collect 7 magical items in order to defeat the evil witch. I look around the room and see 7 pedestals, one for each symbol. I have no idea what the items are supposed to be, but I know I need to find them if I want to get out of here. As I start to search, I hear a voice. Looking for something? I spin around and see a woman standing behind me. She's tall and thin with long white hair and piercing blue eyes. Who are you? I ask. I'm here to help you, she says. I'm the guardian of this place. I've been waiting for you. To be continued.